The dude put out 2 records and then re-released our record and then put out 7 inches for us. Without him, without his constant support and putting us out at the level where we needed him to, we never would be playing here. Thank you.
I met John at a early Some Still Believe show, actually at the first show that the demo was released. It was a show in Chico, California, which is near Redding. My plan was to move to San Francisco. You know, we started making plans to start a band. At that same point, Breaker broke up, and Some Still Believe was on the fritz, you know, and so like, it all just came together that way, you know.
We'd all kind of talked about doing stuff together. And
when this one came to fruition with Ben and Jonah, I was like, this is Paul Ross,
yeah.
And then Allison.
The day the demo was recorded, we were already looking for a new band. You know, it was like us three. It was always us three, but like literally I think by the end of the day, the demo was recorded. Even though Ben and Jonah were in the studio, we already had another band lined up, which was all it was Some Still Believe with John singing.
Not to mention the fact that I know it was really difficult on him for Some Still Believe to disband and for me to basically sing for a band that was his band. So I really want to thank you, Scots, for being so gracious, and I really appreciate it.
After our EP came on Acre Records,
and Noel was putting out a comp, which was East Coast, West Coast, and he asked us to do that. It was great, one song. And then we got the split because Internal Affairs wanted to do a record with us.
And we weren't actually on a record label. Ram kind of had like an open, I think, like I would do something with you guys again, but it wasn't really like we weren't on a label. Dude Martyr Records in New York City put out me and Ross's old band, and I guess he heard the tracks and he said that, you know, he'd be interested in putting out another a record with us. You know, and Kyle, like, I think got wind of this, like, oh, that sucks, because like I was going to ask you guys to be the perfect fit for us. We sat down, we thought about it, like we thought, you know, like Kyle would be the best decision.
You know, we got to, you know, do a record with a really great friend of ours. He had passion and energy and
good business ethic.
Good business ethic. He wanted to help his friends' bands out.
It was a family. You know, the label's a tight-knit family, and that's essentially how it went right there. You know?
I think that Kyle and Zach and Rivalry as an entity, not just two guys, but the whole community surrounding that. Every band on the label, everyone that lived at Kyle's house or in Calaveras, people that put records together, all of that contributed to us being able to go as far as we did, and every band on that label doing as much as they got to do. He ended up carrying it way farther than I think he had ever imagined or even planned to take it. I think that he just wanted to put out records, and it became, you know, this huge entity that none of us expected it to become. There was tons of volunteers that came and helped. Him and Zach pack records, you know, design stuff. Aaron Meneses, everybody that lived with him, everybody in that community, and then even younger kids. It was a two-man effort. You know, a lot of the times it was just Kyle, and I mean, we owe him our band, and we owe him all the experiences that we got to have as a band.
Sorry, Kyle.
I think that Dwayne and I both wrote exactly what we wanted to write at the time. And so that's why you see sort of different records sounding pretty different from each other. And I don't necessarily know that either of us would say, I'm going to sit down and write a song that sounds like X or Y. But we both had, you know, interests that were changing or styles that were changing throughout the timeline of the band, and you can see that. And I think it's one of the things that's interesting if you go back and listen to the records, and I'm sure it's true for Dwayne, it's true for me for sure, is that on each record I can tell without even remembering sort of who wrote which song or which parts of which song. I can tell that's a Dwayne Harris song or that's a Ross Trenary song, or we had different styles. I mean, I thought that was always kind of an interesting dynamic of the band.
There was never any goals. What came out after writing music was, the final product was what it was.
It was always pretty easy to get inside of John's head and know where he was coming from at any point in time. And at the same time, he wrote the kind of lyrics that I think that a lot of times people could take from them and make them sort of what they wanted. So while you could always tell, or I always thought I had a pretty good idea of what he was talking about, even specific events in his life or specific things that he was trying to get at, I could still. He wrote the type of lyrics that were applicable to a lot of things. So you could take that, and if that wasn't an experience that you had, you could still take what he was saying about it and apply it to something in a way that made it interesting or impactful for you.
I'd say that was always one of the strong points of the band was John's lyrics. They were never too abstract, but at the same time, like Ross said, you had a pretty good idea what they're about. And if you didn't, I could always ask John. He was always upfront about it, and nothing that I ever had issues with. I mean, we were a straight edge band, but we only had a couple straight edge songs out of all of our releases, which is something I definitely was into because I didn't want to be that band that had like ridiculous over the top lyrics or forcing ideas on people's throats. So, yeah.
I think that So This Is It definitely, strikes a chord. The lyrics are, I guess from here on out we'll look back and laugh at all the fun we had. It's just so much you go through as a band, and when it comes to an end, you're just kind of trying to figure out a way to sum it up, be done, move on, and do something else, and look back. And I think some of the most fun that we have now is getting together like this, and when the camera stops rolling, we talk about all the inside jokes and just laugh and all the. Basically look back and all the fun we had over the years in the band. I wrote Why I'm This Way, and I had multiple people come up to me and tell me that was probably the most important song they've ever heard us write.
I could say in regards to that song, when we wrote the song, I was like, oh, this is a cool song, because it was a song that it didn't sound like anything Allegiance had written at that point. And I remember thinking oh, this is a cool song, people remember, but I never would have guessed how popular of a song that would have got, because I remember playing shows at Chain Reaction and John being mauled by people, just people beating his ass while he was singing, on stage and singing their heart out with, it was amazing to me how many people loved that song. I could tell they were passionate about the lyrics in that song.
At the end of our band, when we get to those parts, we would they would be yelling the lyrics to that, and I didn't have to sing anymore, and I'd get goosebumps every time we played. So.
One of the first bands that really helped us out a lot was Champion. So our first sort of real trip that we did was sort of a small Western U.S. sort of thing with Champion, and they sort of treated us really like equals on that tour in a lot of ways, and that was kind of nice. And then we toured with a lot of different bands, and after that, I think we did something with Embrace Today, and they did kind of the same thing, where I just think that, we got treated really well by a lot of people, and, we tried to do the same later on. We would take, we took some other bands that were a little bit younger than us, like Lights Out or Set It Straight, Right On, things like that. And, we try to take them on weekends and do the same thing. But obviously we spent a lot of time on the road with a band, Go It Alone, from Canada, and did a couple of big, longer tours with them and got to know them really well, which was fun because I think that while we were both obviously hardcore bands and kind of similar in a lot of ways, we were also really different. Both as people, I think we had a lot of differences and a lot of things we could learn from each other, and then as bands we sort of approached a lot of things differently, and our sounds were different enough that we could keep it interesting. And I think that people didn't have to suffer through two sets of two bands that sound exactly the same, and so that was a lot of fun.
I love touring. when I'm thinking about leaving for tour.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have comments to say about you loving touring.
And when I get back, 3 months later, I love touring. Like, I miss. I look at pictures now, and I miss it to death. Like, I think that traveling across the United States, one of the most awesome adventures I've been able to experience. And I got to share it with some pretty fun dudes who were up for a lot of fun stuff. Making side trips to Niagara Falls and stuff like that. So it was. I think that the idea of leaving for tour, and when you first leave, maybe first 3 days, and then once you get going 2 weeks in, it's very fun. But there's definitely some times when I absolutely hate it when I'm on the road.
Once you hit the road, you're like, yeah, like totally psyched that that you don't have any real responsibilities in the real world for like X amount of time. But there's like the hard days when you're like, God damn, I hate everyone around me, or like, you just want to take a shower, or just like, you don't want to be around like loud music, or people at hardcore shows and stuff. All that stuff doesn't matter. Like when you get, when we start playing and with your friends and stuff, it's like the thing about tour is like, I would notice that you could be having the worst day in the world. Me and John could get in an argument, or something could happen. But like the moment you get on stage, if you have a good set, the rest of the night is awesome. You guys are like, oh, if you got in an argument early, it doesn't matter. It's like, or if like somebody snaps at someone, it doesn't matter. So it's like, but I mean, as far as touring goes, I look back now and like I envy it. I wish I could do it again, but all of us are in different times in our life, and but like, I don't know, it's something that I hold close to my heart, and I'll remember till the day I die.
Touring for me, I don't know if it was. I used to drive a lot. So I used to drive most of the time, I think, and now I actually miss that. And every now and then I'll, I'll talk about sort of just wanting to go drive somewhere. I miss on some level, driving for 8 hours straight. There was something about it that you could just sort of be in your own mind for so long. And
it's therapeutic in a way.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just the road and it's quiet, and really, even though you've got sort of, there was this weird comfort where you felt like you were alone in some way, but you still had, some of your best friends with you, which was really nice.
These times are coming to an end.
Desperation is a song written about those summer days of sort of leaving it. I guess we'd do Thursday night or Friday morning, and then get back Monday afternoon or Monday morning if we could. Basically a song called Summer Relief, which is just about drives. In the lyrics it says drives up Highway 5 and down 101. And it's basically just about like the time spent in the van, the time spent with friends, the time seeing friends in Seattle or in LA. I mean, I think as a band, or as people, some of our best friends are in Seattle and LA. The sort of the stress and the energy of leaving at Thursday night and getting back Monday morning, trying to get in the van and get everyone situated by like 10 o'clock at night, or even later, just to leave, and we'd have fun. We would be laughing until about 2, and then everyone would crash and Ross would keep driving, and then we'd all just wake up back up at, well, most of us would wake back up at like 6 or 7 in the morning when the sun came out, and just go back at it and just kind of laugh the whole way up.
The record, The Desperation, I feel really proud of. That record is the most, in my mind, as Allegiance, it's the most Allegiance thing we ever did. That's something that sort of we all came together and really did something that we could be proud of for the rest of our lives.
Like, I'm proud of the demo tape. I'm proud of the last LP we did. I'm proud of like the last show we did. I'm proud of going to Europe. I'm more proud of the fact that I was able to create these friendships with people all over the United States and Europe and whatnot. And like people that I know I'll be friends with to the day I die. So I guess it's not so much what I'm proud of, it's what I cherish the most.
This weekend hosts your final show as Allegiance, and it is with deep sadness that I'm stuck here in Seattle and will not be able to be in Berkeley. Saying goodbye to a band that has meant a great deal to me. The purpose of this letter, though, it may be brief and may do a little to express my thoughts, is to let you all know what a special place Allegiance holds for me and how sad I am to see you go. While you rock the fuck out this Saturday, know that all the contributions you have made, with all your dedication and ardor, have not gone unnoticed. Know that Allegiance will be missed. Allegiance has been a band that has continued to grow in skill and depth of their music, and I have continued to be impressed with the different insight that you have all brought to the table. Be proud of the music you have made and the work you have accomplished. You have a rare achievement of making something worthwhile and gaining the support and reception of your peers, myself included. I have loved each record and loved each performance that I see. This weekend will be the pinnacle of this period, and I wish you all the best of luck as you say goodbye. Not only your music, but your friendship has given me confidence and happiness, and I am grateful for your encouragement and support in my endeavors. I guess I'm trying to express my regret that I cannot be there this Saturday, because your final show will also be the end of an era for me as well. I hope you all know that this era has been priceless, and your friendships and music are priceless to me. Thanks. That's what I am most proud of. The biggest difficulty with the band was lineup changes. I mean, we went through like 10 different members other than us three. That eventually it just gets tiresome. You know, you want to. You know, I personally wanted to play as much as possible, and I don't know if that's a vocalist thing or if that's my personality. I just wanted to play. It's like a drug. It's addictive, and I wanted to play every night. And that's unfair to these two guys, and it's unfair to the other guys. But that's what I wanted to do all the time. And I think that in being selfish, they tried to accommodate me and allow me to play as much as possible. The problem was that you know, if Ross couldn't go, there was Dwayne that could back him up and play as only one guitarist, and vice versa. If a drummer couldn't play, then we had to go around and find, you know, 3 other people that could fill in to make sure that we could play the one show that we really wanted to play, whether it be the Carry On reunion, the Down to Nothing show in Carpinteria, just like, you know, whatever random show it was. It was just very tiresome. And when it came down to doing Desperation, the record, it got to the point where we had worked really hard to write this record, and we went in there, and it was like, you know, the drum tracks were finished, that guy disappeared, the bass tracks were finished, that guy disappeared. It felt less of like a band and we were doing this together, and more like there was 3 guys, and it felt like we were hitting walls, you know, creatively or time or whatever.
I felt like when Desperation, when we started writing the record, there was like a ticking time bomb, like, all right, the band's coming to an end, like we have like a frame of time, we know the band's going to end soon, so like we put a lot of work into a short period of time, I think, at the end. Yeah. Which
was great, because it meant we'd push ourselves to finish a record. It pushed me to write lyrics and have them be meaningful, because it's going to be the last thing that that I'm going to say in this band.
You start on in a small band that you don't really expect to become sort of as much a part of your life as it does, and if you compare, you know, what we thought the first show we played and what the experience was the last show we played, you know, the difference is just that it became such an emotional part of everybody's life, and it's sort of weird to say, but it was a really powerful emotional experience for all of us to have. You know, I mean, we obviously had a ton of friends there, a ton of people we didn't know, people who had flown in from outside of the country. You know, some of us had family there. It was a really sort of engaging experience that was nice in the way that it really sort of marked the end of it for a lot of us, and did it in a way that I think we thought did the band and all the time and all the effort and all the sort of, you know, mental and emotional strife that we had put into it. It really did all of that justice in a way that was really nice.
For me, everything was kind of show in and show out. So the show ended and I would go, okay, next time, this is what's fucking happening. And we're playing that song before this song, and I'm gonna fucking jump on that dude. You know? So as soon as the show was over, as soon as songs were over, it was like, that's the last time I'll do that. We'd go through another wave and I'd be like, fuck man, there it is, you know? That's exactly what that song is about, you know? So it's like, it was just really weird for me. And then afterwards, you know, I got choked up, and I still do. I mean, it was like so important, you know, to me.
Allegiance was something that like was, you know, like it was an important part of my life, Ross's life, John's life, Dante's life, everyone's life. It hit me like a couple months later. Like it wasn't until like a couple months later I remember sitting there going, okay, my life has changed dramatically. It hit me, I'm like, god damn, dude, like that was the best like 7 years I'll probably have in my life. Like I'll never experience that stuff again. And it made me, I got depressed from it. Like it weirded me out and bummed me out. Like, okay, like I got another band now, but I'm still friends with all these dudes. It's sad. It made me sad like months later, you know. But now 2 years has passed by or whatever. It's like I can look back at it and go like, that was fucking sick, you know. Like, not just I don't look at the last show. I think of that whole everything that happened.
yeah. Give us Norwalk Hospital. Exit 16. And then what do we do? 3 lights, make a right, 2 more lights. Thank you, sir. Bye. Seal the deal.